My name is Dagostino. That is my co-host Nick Tarorick. Welcome back to Birch to October Guardians podcast. Like and subscribe for more podcasts. Nick, this series in general to me, a lot of things stuck out. I think the frustration when it comes to the inconsistencies on offense and really when it comes to middle relief really stood out. But also, like the missed opportunities when they presented themselves against the Chicago White Sox. And I want to start off talking about what Will Venable did, forgetting how many mound visits he had. Obviously, Angel Martinez had the two-run single beforehand. They already checked on left-handed starter Noah Schultz beforehand. He forgot how many mound visits he had, and they had to yank him. But Cleveland still yet did not score another run after that in that inning. They had plenty of guys on base after that, and it was just really frustrating. That was kind of like the jump, even for a game where Cleveland really dominated.
Yeah, no, I mean, it got off to such a promising start. We caught a huge break there in that first inning, and we were able to add on and end up pulling away in that game. And I thought the offense overall in that game looked pretty solid, and felt pretty good after game one of the series going into the last two. But once again, man, just the inconsistencies piled up, and we're unable to finish off the series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they really set the tone, I think. Martinez had the 6 RBI game, the grand slam too. I really am excited to see what he does in this upcoming series against Detroit, because if he is what he was, I would say in April, May, and the beginning of June, that's a huge boost for this offense with Jose Ramirez currently, not having his power stroke back because it's going to take a while with the wrist injury. But I just think that that's a positive that showed. But yeah, I mean, again, they had a great offensive performance. Parker Messick was absolutely spectacular once again. 7 innings pitched of great baseball. I mean, 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. And again, like I would say probably another missed opportunity is, for Cleveland not having to use any of their big guys in game one, really having a rested bullpen for game two, where, I mean, it really the cards stacked up in Cleveland's favor and they couldn't get the job done.
No, not at all, man. It was just, just I'd say all the stars aligned for this to be a very, very winnable series for us, and we just did not take advantage of it at all. Just the bullpen, man, was just so incredibly frustrating and completely let us down in those final 2 games, and it was just it's just frustrating, man, because I thought some of our, I thought our offense wasn't horrid this series, like we've had some series where the offense is just completely non-existent and a complete zero. And this series, it wasn't. It was frustrating the last 2 games, but it wasn't just complete all bad. So for, when that happens, for it to be the bullpen that ends up letting us down, it makes it, 10 times more frustrating because, it's been such a strong point for us the past few years. And if you look at our bullpen this year, the pieces aren't all that different. It's a lot of the same guys that we've had back there for a few years now, but yet the results just aren't the same. So, I don't really know what to make of it other than, this just isn't a great unit right now. And it's really annoying, honestly.
Yeah, it really cost them, I thought, in game two, too. Again, like I'm going to constantly say missed opportunities because that is where the land of missed opportunities here in Cleveland. I mean, you think about in that game where Maurice Hoskins gets thrown out at second again, and I mean, he cleaned that up. He had the 2-run homer, but I mean, Gavin Williams was phenomenal. And then to take that into Colin Holderman, who has not really had a bad hiccup all year, and he could not record an out. I mean, he hit 2 batters back-to-back on sweepers, and then you had the 2-run double by Tristan Peters, and really the jam job that really put the Guardians to bed in game 2. And it is just really frustrating to watch because this collective group of bullpen arms, they've been pretty good for the most part this season. And the only time they don't show up and they look fatigued right now, I would say too, is when we need them the most. And again, that just costs us that costs so much because, I mean, you had back-to-back great starting pitching performances that kept you in the game. Your offense is doing as much as it can, and it's honestly a good sight to see too, that Cleveland's offense is at least getting guys on base and putting up runs too.
Yeah, and with the bullpen, I've kind of felt like this for most of the year. Like, a lot of the year our bullpen results, if you look at the rankings and stuff like that, it's not too bad. It's actually pretty good if you look at the statistics of it. But it just feels like in big spots this year, they have not been trustworthy. Really anyone besides Cade Smith, just I feel like I don't necessarily trust in the big moments. Like, when we have a decent sized lead or we're trailing by a good amount, yeah, they can go out there and give us clean innings and stuff. But it's just like, I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of solid pitchers, I'd say, but a lot of guys who I don't necessarily think are high leverage relievers. And you need high leverage relievers in the big leagues. And I just don't know if we have enough of those right now.
Yeah, especially if they continue to like fall behind in the count early. Craig Yoho, another example of that too. I mean, his performance in Game 3 was just absolutely awful. 4 walks. I mean, he gave up 4 runs, really blew that game open. So I mean, like you're bringing him in to also be another high leverage bridge guy to give Hunter Gaddis rest, to give Eric Sombrowski rest, who has been not very good. His command has been pretty bad this entire year. And that's kind of concerning when we head down the stretch here in the sprint to October. Like, who's going to be the guy that can step up other than Gaddis and Smith right now? I don't know. I think Holderman can, but I mean, that last outing just looked like he was very fatigued.
Yeah, no, like Holderman's been great for us this season. He really has been. But like, if he doesn't have a long proven track record of MLB success, like he's had some success at times, but he's also had a lot of struggles sometimes. If you look at his, numbers in Pittsburgh last year, they were pretty dang bad. So with him, it's like, yeah, it's been a great story this year, but I've never like fully trusted him in the high leverage moments just because like he's not a guy with that track record at all in the MLB. So, maybe that magic's starting to run out a bit. It's one bad outing. I'm not saying for that for sure yet, but still it's just with he's just another guy that I don't necessarily think is a guy that can be relied upon in high leverage moments all the time.
You're right, and it was one bad outing, but for Colin Holderman's sake, what has been his kryptonite in his entire career? He's always had the stuff, but it's the command and the control. And when he's at his worst, that is when he starts hitting pitchers. That is when he starts leaving pitches over the plate. And because I think a lot of these guys have been fatigued and overworked because of how many one-run games we've played, we're going to see some of these guys really regress majorly. And unfortunately, I think Colin Holderman can sustain the level of success he can, or level of success he has had so far. But I would not be shocked if this is who he is for, I guess, the next 2 weeks until this offense really takes flight and can blow games open like they did in Game 1.
Yeah, and that's kind of just it's kind of what we need right now is we kind of need this offense to blow games open, and we haven't been able to do that because we're not taking advantage of enough scoring opportunities. It's been the same common theme all season long with this team is they just they get guys on base and they can't get them in, and when your bullpen it cannot be fully trusted, you need those insurance runs. You have to get them. Like you you just have to in the MLB. And we've been able to scoot by the last few years without necessarily having the best offenses because our bullpen's been so great and we've been able to rely on them in these situations. But this year, I feel like our bullpen's just a tick down from previous years, and it's kind of exposing, our flawed offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Is sticking on the bullpen topic because I think that's a good one to really talk about because their struggles have really they are the main problem right now of why this club can't get anything going uh, as of as of right now, because I believe right now what I'm watching, the offense has put enough good quality at bats and has scored enough runs, especially with the way this starting pitching rotation has pitched, to give a team a chance to win. What really hasn't? I mean, they walked 9 batters in the final game of the series, and I feel like that is becoming a trend now with this Guardians bullpen. Is a lot of walks and guys falling behind in the count. We saw with Tim Herron, Craig Yoho, Slade Ciccone when he was even in there. It's been like this for a couple of series now for this bullpen. I hope they could get it together, but again, like, do you believe that this is a talent thing or a fatigue thing?
I'd say a little bit of both, honestly. Like I said, we got a lot of solid relievers, but I don't know if it's like just a lot of the guys, if you look up and down our bullpen, don't have a proven track record in the MLB of being high leverage relievers. And, beforehand, we've been able to develop guys out of nowhere into these high leverage relievers, but right now we haven't been able to do that this year. So I don't know if there is, enough talent in that bullpen. There's a good amount of guys with some good stuff, but, either their command's holding them back or, you got guys like Festa who have command decently, but don't really have great stuff. So it's just, yeah, I don't think it is the most talented bullpen out there, but I also do think you could say they're fatigued, but like I don't know, man. Like our starting pitching, they've given us innings a lot for most of the season, man. At some point, they got to pick up the slack for these starters.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I don't disagree there. I believe that Cade Smith and some of those other guys like Holderman are starting to feel a little bit of fatigued because they've been so sharp this entire year. And you're going to see a little bit of them not going to have their command consistently. One thing that is just really concerning to me with this bullpen is one, you said it, these guys don't really have proven track records of being elite pitchers at the major league level in high leverage situations. You take a look at guys like Eric Sombrowski has, but Eric Sombrowski hasn't done it for a full season. Tim Herron has, but Tim Herron hasn't done it for multiple years. And especially in Tim Herron's case, it's a lot of guys that when they fall behind in the counts, they leave stuff over the plate and they can get hit hard. And you can't really rely on guys like that don't have elite put away stuff to bridge to your guys like Cade Smith and Hunter Gaddis. And that's why I think that this bullpen's really struggling right now, is they can't find somebody that can bridge to those guys other than Holderman, Gaddis, and Smith.
Yeah, no, like when we've gotten the ball to Cade with the lead, he's been very, very good this year. But the problem is getting the ball to him with the lead. Like your closer can't close out games if you're not winning the game. So yeah, that's definitely been the problem, is getting the ball to him. And I do trust. I've gotten to the point where I do trust Gaddis now as well. He's been, beginning of the year was really shaky, but I've caught, he's kind of back into form now, and I like Gaddis. I don't know if he's like an elite eighth inning guy. I wouldn't consider him like top of the line setup guy, but I think he's a fine setup guy. Like he gets the job done most of the time. But yeah, after that, it's just a lot of questions. Like all the guys I'd say have some strengths and some weaknesses, except Festa. I wouldn't really say has any strengths, but the rest of them, um, yeah, there's just no real complete pitchers without question marks besides those two guys in this bullpen.
Yeah, it's a lot of talent, but it's also a lot of unproven guys at the big league level that are in a collective unit. And I think that is eventually it was going to bite this Cleveland front office because that is how they construct their bullpens. I mean, that's how they construct it, but also like listening to Tom Hamilton the other day, and I thought this was very interesting. When they brought up Franco Alleman from Syracuse, Franco Alleman, I guess, went into Stephen Vogt's office and said that he appreciates his time and that he's going to learn how to get ready. I honestly think that listening to this, that some of these guys aren't taking their time to get ready because they're getting thrown in these different situations because nobody can get outs right now. Like it's a hodgepodge right now, how bad some of these guys are in the bullpen. Like you can't really trust Craig Yoho right now because of his command. His changeup's still good, but right now he's leaving it over the plate and it's getting hit hard. Like Eric Sombrowski continues to walk guys. Like we've talked about so many of these guys being inconsistent, and I think that is also a problem. Is like for the younger guys like Franco Alleman, the inconsistencies are also hurting him too.
Yeah, and Alleman, I do think like I really want to see him, get up here and take control of a role in this bullpen, because I think with his stuff and he's had pretty solid command this year in the minor leagues as well, that like as a complete pitcher, I think he has the next best chance of being a high leverage reliever for us here soon. So, if he can again maybe learn how to prepare like he said, learn how to be ready, and that's the last piece of his game. That's the only thing that's holding him back from being a high leverage reliever for us. That's great. Hopefully he can work on that and maybe get back up here as a September call up or something like that, and contribute to this bullpen down the stretch, because he is a guy that has the talent to be a high leverage reliever in the big leagues, and I want to see that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think that he has a great chance of being a good late inning guy that can get outs, and you could put him in any type of situation just to get out. So I also believe Espino can be that type of guy too. Will we see him later in the year? Because I think that because of how late it is in the year, they need to find some internal solutions to help this bullpen because right now they are the reason why this club is losing these past 6 games. If I told you that the Cleveland Guardians have scored first in their last 4 games and have only won one of them, you'd probably tell me that I'm crazy because this identity of this club in general for the last 10 years under Tito and Stephen Vogt is when they score first, they are so successful and they have a very high percentage chance of winning because of how good their rotation is and how good the bullpen is.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go after the starters here. They've been great for us. They've been the strength of our team all season long. But it does feel like a thing with our starters too, where we get out to an early 1-0 lead or 2-0 lead, and they just don't follow that up with a zero a lot of the time. And again, I'm not complaining too much because the guys have been pitching pretty damn well, but it is still frustrating, when you go out there and grab an early lead, you got to respond with a zero, man. You have to. It keeps the momentum going, and when the other team comes back and puts a run on the board, they all of a sudden, they get a big jolt, of momentum on their side. So if you can focusing on putting up zeros after, grabbing the early lead like that, it's a small thing that a lot of the best teams in baseball, it's what they do because it just completely, really puts you in cruise control once you're able to do that.
Absolutely. I mean, Cleveland outscoring opponents the last 4 games in the first inning 6-1, and they've only won one game. I totally agree on that front. I mean, if you watch teams like the Milwaukee Brewers, I mean, when they score early, they come out and they dodge the counterpunch from their opponent. They put up a zero right away. That's what this team used to do. And right now they're struggling to do that. I mean, they have played some good offenses, but again, it's like the self-harm kink for this club. Like anytime this offense does do something, they follow it up with like Joey Cantillo in game 3. They follow it up with, I can't throw strikes and now I'm in danger, and they somehow get out of it. But a 2-1 lead in the first inning is much worse than what you would have a 2-0 lead and feel a little bit confident that your offense can at least add on later down the road.
Yeah, no doubt. Like if you're able to get out of that still at 2-0, you feel really good about yourself because it's like you scored 2 in the first, and then you come up, you have some trouble on the base pass, but you're able to get out of it, keep the lead at 2-0, shut it down, and off you go from there. But yeah, that's why like with this team is just that's why this team's just been so damn frustrating this season because it's just like when one thing goes well, the other thing goes wrong is what it feels like all season long. And, the offense, has been the common theme of struggle throughout most of the year. But, like, even when they've had their good moments, man, it just feels like the pitching takes a shit next to it, So it's like, I just don't, it's so hard to make out, the identity of this team right now because it's just like, there's just no consistency with anything besides the starting pitching. Your starting pitching's probably going to do a good job and keep you in the game at least. But other than that, man, it's just a mixed bag. Let's say every game, it's like you don't know what to expect almost because it's like how are we going to screw it up today almost is what it feels like.
Yeah, it feels like how can we find a way to lose? I still think this club's a very good ball club. Like I know that the results right now in the win-loss category are not there, and it's really hard to defend it as a fan and as a person that evaluates this club. Again, like self-inflicted wounds is the reason why this club is winning. It is not a talent differential. In some cases it is against like teams like the Yankees and the Dodgers. Like that will be a talent differential. But like you watch them against the Chicago White Sox. Again, they had a chance to win all of those games, all of them. And they were in control for the most part in all those games. They had a lead in all those games early, and still they found a way to lose 2 of them. And that was because of 1, bad base running, 2, they couldn't dodge the counterpunch, like we talked about with the pitching staff, putting up a zero right away. And the ability to add on later, I think they've gotten better at, but they still need to do a better job. And that's the frustrating part is they're right there. They're so close of putting together a decent stretch of baseball that can get them back into this division race, to get them back into the wild card. But you have a series like this where you're just questioning everything.
Yeah, I mean, but it's mid-August now, man. We're running out of time, man. Like we've had so like how many times in the last month plus have we gone into a series and been like, this is a massive series for this team. Like they got to go out there, can get it done. Get back, take control of the division, take control of the wild card, and it just feels like we let them all slip away. Like we've let so many opportunities slip away in the last month plus with this team, and we've been able to build absolutely zero momentum at all this season. Like, and we got a month and a half left of baseball here. Like, when is it going to happen? When is it going to happen? Because I do think that this is a talented baseball team, and I do think the future of this baseball team is bright. But when in terms of this season, I'm not getting my hopes up that there's this magical run coming with this ball club right now, because right now this ball club feels the opposite of magical. Like it just feels like, again, they kind of just find a new way to lose every day almost.
Yeah, I don't think that a magical run is like what's going to happen. Basically, like honestly, watching this ball club, I think that there is a run to get them back into the mix. They're not out of the mix. They're not dead at all. Like all these people on Twitter say this ball club is dead, that the season's basically over. They're not dead at all. You're one good week of baseball being back, maybe a game or tied for the division lead. Now, it all comes down to two things: is can the offense be consistent, and can they just counterpunch and put up a zero and play clean defense too, Nick? Right now, the Cleveland Guardians are 11th in errors. That is also a big part of why this club is struggling. A team that prides themselves on pitching and defense, they haven't been very good at defending, especially in the infield. So they got to clean that up. Again, when can they put a good stretch of baseball together? We're still waiting. We've been really waiting since that 8-game winning streak in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's why like it's got to happen soon, man. Like thank God the American League is just so brutally bad this year that we still even have a shot, because like how often do you like lose every test for a month plus straight and still somehow have a chance to pass the test and make the playoffs, Like we still have a chance, and I'm not getting my hopes up. I'm going at it right now like I obviously want to make the playoffs, but I'm not counting on it right now. And I kind of am the mode of like, I want to see the young guys do well. I just want to see this team put some sort of stretch of good baseball together, just to, get, be able to at least feel better about the team going into next season. And, because sooner than later, if we don't start winning some series, like we are going to be out of it. And so we got to go now. Like they got to go now, or else like very soon here, this season's going to be pretty much over for us.
Yeah, I'm 43 games left. A big one tonight in Motown. They have a big series in Motown, but I'm in the middle like you. I'm watching for player development. I want to see how Travis Bazzana does. I thought his at bats against left-handed pitching in the Chicago White Sox series were better. He's more disciplined. He wasn't chasing out of the zone. Better quality of contact. That is what I want to see. I'm also there too, man. Like I just want to see what Hanau has. I want to see what Bazzana, DeLauder, maybe another stint of Cahill Watson. See what some of these guys can bring to this club. But I'm also not ruling out that this club can get back in it. There's so many stories this year with the Boston Red Sox we're seeing right now, how they turned around. They kind of had a similar stretch of baseball like us. The New York Yankees have had a similar stretch of baseball like us this year. So I'm not counting the Cleveland Guardians out at any point right now when it comes to how bad the American League is. And two, I think that this club, when they put it together, can be a top 4 team in the American League. It's just weird because like you take a look at Seattle and us right now, very similar. Like they one side of the ball, the pitching side, has been fantastic for both of these clubs. But if you look at it offensively, it's been so inconsistent that they can't go on a run. I feel like we're in the same boat as them, but I really feel like it's starting to turn for us.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that just the main reason why I'm not, expecting anything great out of us the rest of the way is that this team just feels like it doesn't have the core principles that we've had the past few years that have made us be able to be playoff teams despite, not great offenses. And that's a lockdown dominant bullpen, and that's solid defense. And also that's the ability to get the clutch hit, when it matters most. That's something that we've kind of prided ourselves on. Like if you look up guards ball in the dictionary. That's all those things are listed as qualities of it, and I'm not the biggest fan of guards ball, like I sometimes wish this team just would focus on, run producing and power and stuff like that a little more, but it does work to a sense of you can get by with lesser offenses if you do those things well. And we haven't done any of those things particularly well this year. So just the fact that those identities, those things that have been such a core piece of us the past few years aren't there this year, it's just like, I don't know. It's just making me feel like this team just doesn't quite have it. And that, I don't know. I don't really, it's why I'm not really expecting anything much out of this team going forward this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I just watching these last couple games, I know it's 6 games sample size of Nathaniel Lau, Joe Adell, those guys in your lineup with Angel Hanau too. I felt like this was a completely different lineup. It gave you a different look. It gave you more quality of at bats. It gave you better production on the offensive side. So I just believe that if they could put it together, have the shutdown innings and play clean baseball, they have a shot. And the reason why I'm saying that this offense might actually be legit to a league average standpoint, I mean, 304x to WOBA since those trades. Again, small sample size, 6 games, but an expected batting average of 235. I mean, they're finally getting hits. They're getting runners on base. Now, again, the problem has been for them all year, and it feels like the last couple of years, is can they get the clutch hit? And that comes down to a multitude of things, Nick. I believe Jose Ramirez is going to be a big factor in that. Can he turn the tide? Can he be a little bit more productive than he has? Nathaniel Lowe, I think, has already done a great job in that standard, but they need somebody else to pick it up, whether that is Travis Ozuna, Chase DeLauder, Stephen Kwan, somebody else to get the clutch hit. And that just comes down to, playing loose, because right now, this club right now is playing tight. If you take a look at some of the at-bats, when those guys are up with runners in scoring position, they're tight, they're chasing, they're doing as much as they can. They need to relax and remember who they are. And honestly, dude, I think the better ball's coming. I really do. I just don't. I agree. I don't expect a magical run, but I think a good enough run to get them back into like the 1 to 2 games back of the division.
Yeah, no, again, I could see that, but like again, this year it's like does 84 wins and a wild card berth get you like that pumped up, like if it obviously, it could lead to, maybe some sort of, great playoff run after that, but like if it's like 84 wins and, losing the wild card series, like that doesn't like that I don't like I'm not like counting that as this team like going crazy down the stretch and, like, I don't know. I don't think it's anything to write home about, especially in this year's weak American League. And right now, it's like that just feels like the ceiling of this team, unless just something all of a sudden changes. Because, like, you are right. Like, I do think the at bats have looked better. I do think the lineup, you know, has the potential to be better than what we've seen the past few years. But it's everything else that has let us down this year. Like the lineup as well. But like, we're not doing the same things that have made us a good baseball team the past few seasons. And, so like, I don't know how much it matters if the offense is just slightly better down the stretch.
Yeah, no, I think it will do a little bit more. But you're right. Like, we've talked about it multiple times. They have to play cleaner baseball. They have to play less sloppy. They've been playing sloppy for the last month, and that finally caught up to them. I mean, the Detroit Tigers were 16 games under, and now they're in second place in the American League Central Division. I mean, they went from 6-22 at the end of May. I mean, they had a horrible stretch of baseball. But again, I just think that they have to figure something out. They have to. Maybe it is an internal lineup, like maybe trying something new, maybe having a new guy, like an Hanau take some more at bats at short or something. Maybe it is mixing up roles, maybe having, instead of Colin Holderman take that bridge opportunity or like find like Franco Alman or somebody like that. Maybe they just they need to figure something out, because those two things are fixable, but like you said, it's been so long this year that it's creating some doubt right now in that clubhouse and with the fan base.
Yeah. And, I think two keys as well, like if this team were to, end up, getting back into the playoffs here by the end of the year, is that if you look at Adele and Yoho, two of our bigger trade deadline acquisitions, they both have really struggled since coming over to
Yeah.
the team. If both those guys can get going, you know, to the level that they were playing at on their old teams, I think that could be a big boost for this team. And, that could, there could be some, real change there if they are able to play better down the stretch. So that's something that could happen. But, like, I don't know, man. Like it just feels like there's too many different questions right now that need to be answered all to get fixed before the end of the season. But Adele and Yoho getting going, that would be a big boost as well. Like I'm not out on Yoho because of a
Yeah.
bad start to his Cleveland tenure. Like he also like he hasn't proven it at an extended level in the big leagues, but he was getting real innings in Milwaukee this year for them, and if Milwaukee, trusts you as a reliever like that, then, I trust you as well because Milwaukee is a very good pitching development team. So I still have some hope for Yoho. Hopefully it's just a rocky start with a new team. Sometimes it takes guys a little while to get adjusted to their new teams. But yeah, if him and Adele can get it going, maybe that could be a spark for us. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean those you're totally right in that aspect, man. It's only been 6 games with those guys. I mean, Adele has not been pretty, but he's shown some flashes of being impactful for this club, especially in his first game, the 2-hit game against left-handed pitching, and the double that I thought that Rubin Odor should have sent Stephen Kwan on in game 2. But like, yeah, I just think that getting adjusted to the new teams might be a big thing, but they are the key to moving this team forward, to making this team better. They were 2 big acquisitions for a reason. I mean, Craig Yoho was here to be the bridge to the bigger guys in the bullpen. I continue to say that because it's true. We needed another guy to do that. Now, I honestly think that he just flat out did not have his stuff on Sunday, and I don't think that we're going to see a lot of blow up outings from Craig Yoho again. But it leaves a bad taste in your mouth because of the circumstances and how big that game was. And Joe Adele too. I mean, 185 at batting average since joining the Guardians. He has not been pretty. He's been striking out a lot, but you can take a couple things away is now he's taking his walks. It's a guy that didn't walk in Anaheim. So like maybe there's stuff that can get those two going, but they are the key to having any sort of success later on.
Yeah, like like again, like I've been saying, on this episode, like I'm not expecting much from this team, but like at the same time, it's like this team, like I do see the potential with this team. Like I do see it there, and there are a few things that if they turn around, this team could be a lot better. But they just can't put it all together this year so far, and it's like it's it's guys like Adele, it's guys like Yoho. It's the fact that we made those moves, and the solid rookie years from Bazana and DeLauder, and the boost that Hanal has given us since he's came up. It's all the things like that where I see all these talented baseball players and the inability for us to put it all together. Like that's what it makes it so much worse. Like almost like just the
Yeah.
fact that like I see the potential, I see it there, but it's just not working out at that level this season. So there's a lot of good baseball players on this team, man. And if, some of them start playing like it, then, this team, it could be a lot better down the stretch, but I don't know.
Yeah, the question is, can they put it together? That has been the question all year. They have for a short period of time. Can they do it for a long period of time? And that's remains to be unseen. Now, I 100% agree. It has been a weird season in the fact that we've seen so many breakouts when it comes to Parker Messick, Bizana, DeLauder, even Colin Holderman, and it hasn't resulted into any runs of long stretches of good baseball. That I don't remember seeing a team look like that and continue to just be mediocrity playing 500 ball. Do you? It's a little weird to me, but I think that the talent will eventually clear its head. Like there's no shot to me that they are 10 games under the end of the year. I'm just saying, like, I think that they'll be either what they are right now or go on a better run.
Yeah, like I don't think it's gonna spiral away from us. I don't think we're like, we're typically a pretty high floor team regardless. And I think with, the roster we do have, like and how weak the American League is, like I don't see that happening either. It's just I don't know, man. They've really just won like 8-2 or 7-3 stretch in a 10-game season can get this thing all of a sudden looking in a pretty good spot, like, because you really only need to be a game over 500 or 2 games over 500 in this league to, have a playoff spot right now. So just all it takes is a good 10-game stretch, and we've been waiting on it for a long time now, but like hopefully it can happen soon. Hopefully it can happen soon.
Absolutely. And that's going to lead us into our last segment of the day, talking about the Detroit Tigers series. Nick, the Tigers, they've shocked everybody, I think, too. They've always had the talent. We've always seen it with the starting pitching staff and some of the position players, too. Dylan Dingler, for example, McGonigal, Clark, Troy Melton, which I know you and I love. He's been sensational for them. Dude has a 1.46 ERA this season, 88 innings pitched, and he throws 100. He's beautiful. But the Tigers, they went 6-22 from May, and since then they went 36-22 since June 1st. I mean, they've completely turned their season around, Nick. They're a fun story to watch, but also I feel like Cleveland has had the upper hand in these type of series against Detroit. 6-0 on the season. What do you think they have to do to continue to own Detroit this year?
Just try and execute the same game plan we've been going at them against with years, for years now. I mean, like, these are two teams that play a similar style of baseball. They focus on pitching. They don't necessarily have the most power up and down their lineup, but it's a lot about pitching when it comes to these two teams. We see these teams playing a lot of low scoring games throughout the years, and Cleveland has gotten the upper hand against them for a while now, and that's why, like, it does scare me a bit that the Tigers are coming in playing great baseball and we are coming in playing not so great baseball. That scares me a little bit, but it's been a while since I've really gone into a series against Detroit and been like scared almost. But this one, like, I am a little bit, like, I am, just because of the way they're playing and the way that we're playing, and the fact that we're not playing the same style of baseball necessarily that we have been in previous years. So, like, even though Scooble is no longer a Tiger, this is still a very talented baseball team if you look at it, and they're playing great baseball right now. So I don't know. I just want to see if they can just tap into some of that, magic that we've been able to pull off against them the past few years, and just play good fundamental baseball to go along with that. And that's how we've beaten them. So hopefully we're able to do that.
Yeah, be the complete team. That has been the difference in this series so far. The Tigers they make mistakes. They do a lot, especially on the bases. They don't have the best range, so you're going to get a lot of ground balls that are going to go through holes because guys like Gleyber Torres don't have a great range out there at second base. And Nick, the thing that you you're right about the Tigers right now. Like, I am too worried about this series. They've been so hot. They've been dangerous. This is kind of how they were in the beginning of last year. If you remember, when they had the best record in baseball, they're averaging around like 6 runs a game since the All-Star break. So it's going to be a tough test, but can Cleveland take advantage of missing out on Troy Melton and getting a bullpen game? I think today is a big test. You got Drew Anderson on the mound. Can they take advantage of that? I hope so. And two, the Tigers, you take a look at their lineup, a lot of young left-handed hitters, and they're gonna face Foster Griffin, who's gonna be pissed off and want to have a bounce back start. And I see that coming. And Parker Messick too, going in the day game on Thursday. I feel confident, but I also am worried too.
Yeah, no, and also, like, if you would have told me, you know, before the season, like, that we would face a Tigers team and, Casey Mize and Tarek Skubal would not be Tigers anymore, I'd be like, oh, that's light work almost. Like, because part of the reason the Tigers have been a really solid team the past few years is those two starting pitchers and, their starting rotation as a whole. So not having those two guys anymore, it's like this rotation looks a lot different than it used to. But there is still a lot of talented arms with this team. So it's still going to be a challenge to score runs, but it should be less of a challenge maybe than, what we've seen in recent years. So that is a positive, I guess. But the losing those two guys hasn't seemed to stop the Tigers since the trade deadline at all. So I don't know. I'm really interested to see, this new look Tigers team in action. For the first time, playing them for the first time since the trade deadline.
Absolutely. I mean, you're playing a guy like Framber Valdez too in the last game. Again, a lot of familiarity too with Nathaniel Lau, Joe Adell, some of these other guys that had finally seen him a lot. So could that be an advantage for Cleveland? But yeah, dude, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. I mean, they've had the fourth best starting pitching ERA even since the trade at 350 in all of baseball. Like, this is a good ball club. They're going to be a test, and I'm really intrigued to see how Cleveland responds. So.
Yeah, no, it's this series. If this series goes the wrong way for us, like it really could be. It could feel like a death sentence for this team. Like if they go out there and lose this series, like I know they probably won't be out of it, like games back wise, but like dropping yet another series to a division rival, it really could that could be, the nail in the coffin for this team. And I really don't want to see that happen. But the way the Tigers have been playing and, the pitching that they do still have and how hot their offense has been, like it's gonna be a challenge. And, I'm I'm both looking forward to it and I'm not at the same time because, it's gonna be a fun test, it's gonna be a fun series, but I don't have the highest of hopes going into it.
Yeah. Well, I just think that you got to take this into mind, man. Is like, yeah, you're 100% right on the fact this is probably the second biggest series of the season. Like the what they played this prior weekend in the South Side was the biggest. This is probably the second biggest. I mean, this team leaped you for the second place of the division. They're currently a game out of a wild card spot, and you have the Twins in front of you, so they have to win these games. And two, like if you win this series, you're gonna sit pretty because all these guys, like the White Sox, are playing the Tigers more. The Tigers are playing us more. So like we're gonna start playing these clubs a little bit more, and we're gonna see some separation here. But yeah, I'm excited and I'm not too.
Yeah, no, it's going to be an interesting series. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to going up to Detroit on Thursday for the game. That should be fun. Hopefully by that point, we'll already have the series wrapped up, maybe 2-0, hopefully, but most likely not, but I don't know, man. It's going to be an interesting rest of the season. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, hopefully the club can find a spark. But from Andrew Dagostino, that is my co-host Nick Tarorick. Let us know in the comments what you think the Cleveland Guardians will do this series, and we'll see you next time on Bridge to October.